Hi, this is Mark Coleman. I'm tending to my bees today. So we've prepped for the new nukes arriving in a couple of weeks, but we're probably expecting too much out of this hive. So I'm using this hive with a flow super on the top and 2 brood chambers below, and that is the source of all the new queens. What I think I'm going to do is cut these bees a break. There are a lot of bees in the flow super. If I take the flow super off, it'll force them down and they can concentrate on building comb and looking after the bees in the lower section instead of wasting their time up in the top. So I'll move that super down onto the green topped hive. This hive over here has 2 queen cells in it, so we'll move that queen cell from there into the hive next door, and we'll move one of the frames of bees across. There's 3 frames inside there now. We'll move a frame across with some food, and we'll get onto that right now, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. Okay, so that flow super has been moved from the main hive, from the Naboo hive, to the second hive, the green top hive. And as you can see, there's still a lot of bees inside of there. These bees are foragers. So as they come out of this hive, they will return to the original hive. So that's not going to be a problem, and then they'll carry on working in the original hive, which is what we anticipate and what we expect. Queen rearing hive had 3 frames in it. I've replaced one of the frames with a food frame. On the middle frame there were 2 queen cells. I've carefully cut one queen cell out and placed it over there. So this has got 1 frame of forager bees and nurse bees, fair population of capped brood, and a food frame next door. So that's a very, very small, a very weak hive. But because they're sharing the same area, they'll keep one another warm, and pretty soon I should have 2 mated queens returning. Looking forward to that. So that should be in a couple of weeks. I should have 2 mated queens. So whenever my bees are subject to stress, taking any frames out, introducing new nukes, I feed for a period of time. This is a 2-litre bottle. So with a 2-litre bottle, usually 2 or 3 are the equivalent of drawing 1 full frame, and they'll draw a frame in about a week. So they've got a bit of work to do. Now that I've closed them up and just given them 2 brood chambers, they can get to work on that pretty quickly. I'm led to believe that hive beetles, small hive beetles, cannot hover, and that's why those small, weaker hives just have a small 2.5 diameter entrance. So the bees can hover and go into that, but hopefully small hive beetles can't do that. The other thing I've got to say is that in my main hive I have a CD cassette at the bottom, which is closed up, has a bait in it, and I have 2 beetle busters in the top. And in the last 6 weeks I have not seen 1 hive beetle inside of that hive, but also one has to consider, is this really the wrong time of the year? But we're getting to the end of our winter, and 1st of September is our spring, which we're looking forward to. Temperatures here already 20 degrees Celsius. I've got to say that there are lots of drones about at the moment. Drones will live for about 90 days. They are dependent on their home hive to keep them fed, but once they've mated, they die. Pretty much the same as a worker bee. Once it's stung you, it'll die. So theoretically, we should have a substantial quantity of drones in this area. The queen that I have in there, Queen Amidala, is a Cordovan queen. She should be purebred Cordovan from the original breeders, which will mean that her daughters will be purebred Cordovans. Any bees bred in this area would be regarded as F1s. So they've been crossed. There should be some hybrid vigor in that, but I think what we really need to do is look at making sure we have adequate youngsters, adequate young queens coming from Amidala from the Naboo hive.